How you doing? Mr. DJ's back. Count down my fancy playlist. One of my many fancy playlists. It is one of my goals to count down all of my fancy playlists for my YouTube channels. Don't know if I'll ever get there, but I'll certainly will try. This one of October 26, 1996, and I'm going to deviate from the top 40 itself and place and talk about one of the groups I got in the top 40 extras right here. Group called Ocean Color Scene. You got it bad. A little bit of that Brit pop from the 90s Ocean Color Scene up there with Oasis, and there was Blur and Primal Scream, those groups that were real popular in England back in the 90s. Ocean Color Scene, they started out in 1989. They were from the ashes of a couple of bands, the Boys, the Fanatics, and they got a record deal. A small record company signed them up, released their first single in 1990. But then their record company got absorbed by a bigger record company. Their album was remixed. They were not happy with that, and the album was just a bit bombed. The group just, well, they were back on the dole, back to the day jobs, writing songs, and that's about it. They got a break in 1993 when they toured with Paul Weller, Weller, formerly of the Style Council, and they also sang on a few records with Paul Weller. But a much bigger break, well, a somewhat bigger break, well, a bigger break period came in 1995. The group they made some demos and they sent it out to various music industry people. One of those demos fell into the hands of Noel Gallagher of Oasis. He liked what he heard. He said, "Guys, come on, would you like to tour with us?" They toured with Oasis, which led to a deal with MCA Records, and their first album, this first album was a charm. It was Mosley something. I wrote it down. It was their second album was Marching Already, but their first album was, oh my goodness, I how Mosley Shows. It's sort of a play on Muscle Shows. Mosley Shows, I believe, was actually their second album. It was critically acclaimed, and it yielded four hit singles, including You Got It Bad, which is the top 40 extra on my fancy playlist. They put out about 10 CDs. The last one they put out was in 2013, and they've had 17 top 40 hits in England, completely unknown here in the States. Ocean Color Scene, I probably heard this one on Hitline, Music's top 40 outlet. And if that's the case, Hitline was probably the only outlet, along with the college radio stations that played Ocean Color Scene. But they were very successful in England. This record, You Got It Bad, went to number 7 in the UK. The album that came after that was called Marching Already. That went to number 1 on the album charts in the UK. And the group got so big they didn't necessarily have they headed their own arenas. They didn't really need any help from Oasis or boost from Oasis anymore. They were on their own. They had their own rocket fuel of popularity. They played 3 nights, sold out nights at Stirling Castle in Scotland, 1998, 1999. Ocean Color Scene from Great Britain with You Got It Bad. Top 40 Extra on my fancy playlist.